The deadly traps of the Vietnam War by Good Enough. Now, I always say this, bro. I don't understand how they fought back then. I don't know how they were so patriotic. Because when I seen the traps, bro, the shit went through, I'm like, damn, I could never do that. But I speak for everyone when I say we'll be fighting in the war, right? The next war, we'll get stabbed. We'll get thrown in a pit of snakes. It's all right, though. We will fight for this country. We will fight. Everybody, right? Chat, everybody here is going to fight for this country. We'll be sitting there. We'll be getting in the head. And it's okay. And it's okay. And it's perfectly fine. No, we'll just get nuked. That too. We'll take a nuke to the dome. All right? We'll take the nuke to the dome. Okay, let's see this video now.
Let's start with the scary and slowly work our way towards the most horrific traps on the list. Number 9, the exploding motorcycle. During the Vietnam War,
Bro, all I can imagine is like a Call of Duty car with like a C4 strap to it. What do you mean there was exploding motorcycles? You got me f***ed up, bro. Could you imagine like just hopping on your casual motorcycle just thinking it's normal and then poof, just like that, you're done for. And what's up with this oh my god, this sickly f***ing cow disgusts me. Get it off my screen.
Motorcycles were strategically placed in cities and villages that were predicted to be invaded by US soldiers. The motorcycles were carefully rigged with explosives, and once a person got on top of the bike to ride it, it would ignite the trap, causing severe damage.
So you don't even get to ride it? Oh man, at least give them like a joyride. Like put like a timer. Like, I think like 30 seconds. Give them like 30 seconds or a minute of ride and let them feel free, and then hit them with it. Hit them with it. That'd be the best way to go out. I'd be at least a little bit happy that I could ride it a little bit. I just realized that's probably gonna get clipped out of context, and yeah, I just gotta watch what I say.
Or even death. Now, I can't imagine that this tactic for very long, as there are only a few sources online that even mention it. Either way, I'm sure that they figured out that stealing and riding a bicycle was probably the better choice. While we're on the subject of rigged explosions, I might as well cover rigged trophies. The Viet Cong and Northern Vietnamese army quickly discovered that American soldiers loved to show off. When US soldiers...
Damn, bro, they was flexing. Nah, these photos used to be crazy, bro. Like, y'all really gotta... This is the equivalent of, like, a fit pick. Like, they would capture niggas and then just, like, take a pick with their flag and stuff. That's... Oof. No, it goes hard. Nah, this is hard. Hold up. Is this person... What was this person, bro? This person look... No, bro, they look so cooked, bro. Are they on the enemy team? I can't tell if they're on the enemy team or not. I don't know, bro. They look like they just got captured by all these people right here.
Soldiers took over an enemy base. One of the few things that were worth of any value to them was the enemy's flags. The salty communist army began to rig their flags with explosives, causing them to explode once they were picked up. But it didn't stop there. They would basically rig any item that they thought a US soldier would be interested in. Now, thankfully, the communist army weren't bright enough to rig boxes of pizza and the Beatles records, as the US would have surely lost the war. Number 8.
Not everything, bro. If they rig like, they put like, I don't know, like a Popeye's chicken sandwich right there. They put like a good meal right there. I probably would have fell for it. I probably would have fell for it, took that shit, and then it would have exploded. It would have exploded. Of course. Okay, what's another meal, bro? It don't matter what it is, bro. It don't matter what it is. I just said Popeye's chicken sandwich because I had a chicken sandwich earlier. That's why I said it. Damn.
The rubber band grenade. The rubber band grenade was a deadly jump scare that was used by both the Viet Cong and Northern Vietnamese army. This booby trap was easy to make and was also very effective. They would simply take a hand grenade, pull the pin out, hold the lever down, and place some rubber bands on the lever to keep it compressed. They would then hide the grenade in their huts, like an Easter egg. This was done since they knew that US soldiers regularly burned their huts down, preventing them from returning. But for US soldiers...
That's actually smart. How did they think of this? Yo, Vietnam, bro, there's a reason why they won. They're actually really smart. How do they even like know they burned down the huts, or like why would they correlate to put that?
This practice would soon come with a massive risk, since huts were booby-trapped with these hidden grenades. And once the hut was set ablaze, the rubber band would begin to melt, causing the lever to spring open, igniting the grenade and exploding, sending deadly shrapnel flying in all directions, up to a radius of 35 meters. Now, a similar tactic that is used today is the mason jar grenade, where a grenade has the safety pin removed, then placed inside of a glass jar, with the lever held down by the wall of the jar. It is then dropped from a drone, causing the glass to shatter and the grenade to explode shortly after. Now, thankfully, nowadays
that's even worse because the last thing you're hearing is just like a jar shattering. And then you look down, bro, and your balls is exploded off.
Operation is performed by a carefully selected professional, which of course are all retired Call of Duty players, since they have years of experience performing under extreme pressure and
oh my god, I heard, nah, bro, y'all know the military actually be using like I said COD controllers. They be using like controllers, bro. Look at this shit. He's playing. What the fuck is he playing on? They got a fucking Xbox controller. Nah, out of all things, bro, the last thing I would want in a war is an Xbox controller. They gotta give me a PlayStation. Give me a Wii controller, as a matter of fact. A Wii controller would be fire. Like, I can see them putting like some gunpowder in that shit and me throwing it like it's one of those old-timey grenades and it exploding. That would kind of be fun. I know they say hard R after dropping those mason grenades on people.
handling an Xbox controller. Number 7. Foot traps. There were a few types of foot traps that were used during the Vietnam War, all which were very painful.
This is what I seen on TikTok. Nah, this shit is... Imagine just walking and then you're just swoop down to like a million just spikes on your face.
Could potentially turn deadly, since these traps use nails and stakes that would typically have the razor sharp tips covered in poison or venom. But if neither of those could be found nearby, poop and urine would be the next best option.
That's sick.
One of the most common foot traps consisted of a set of 2x4s that had long nails on one end. And when a soldier would step on the center of the boards, they would swing open, causing the side with the nails to tightly clamp down on the person's leg. Now, another popular method was to simply dig a hole, place some stakes inside of it, get the poop guy to cover the tips, and then covering it with a thin...
Yo, it's like a classic Mario trap or something like that. I don't know why, but I feel like this would be kind of fun, right? Like, I'd be walking, like, could you imagine it's like Mario? Like, the trap's at the bottom and you're walking and you just, like, jump over it or something? Like, it's a game? Yeah, but if you missed it, though, you were definitely done for.
Mat and some foliage. When a soldier stepped on the booby trap, they would simply fall through the mat and puncture their foot.
Damn.
Which has to be one of the most annoying and disgusting traps, since you were left to suffer with the agonizing pain of a wet sock. Now, sometimes the spikes were even set up pointing downwards.
Oh, hell
so
no.
when a soldier's foot went through the mat, they would instinctually pull their leg up to avoid the trap, latching themselves onto the downward spikes. Eventually, the Communist Army began to see just how effective these traps were. So, they began placing grenades inside of them as well. Number 6.
No, imagine you see the trap and you're like, not this time. And then you pull up and you just get exploded. Holy shit. That might be the most brutal shit ever. I'd be so sick. That would be just... These are just bad ways to go out. Like, that's just a terrible way to go out. Because you think you're like, oh, you're good. Like, it's like that feeling after, you know, something bad happens and, like, you're like, damn, am I going to make it? Is this going to be good? And then you get the relief. It's like that relief for a second and then you just die a second later.
The Cartridge trap.
Fun, right, Tommy?
Another foot trap that was heavily used during the Vietnam War was the Cartridge trap. A very simple to make booby trap that consisted of a wooden board, a nail, a piece of bamboo, and a 50 caliber cartridge. It was then placed underground and covered with a thin mat and some foliage. Now, as terrifying as this trap was, it at least got a cute little name, the Toe Popper, which actually makes it sound kind of pleasant.
Kind of does sound
pleasant. This trap was strategically placed on walking trails or in areas where US soldiers were predicted to pass through. And when a soldier stepped on the booby trap, it would press the cartridge down onto the nail, causing it to fire the round of ammunition into the soldier's foot, sending all the little piggies to the market.
No. I mean, you can live without your toes though, right? Like, okay, this is pretty bad, but like, it's better than your whole body. Like, the other trap was your whole body was getting sucked up and you were done for. I was about to say I put my fingernails on my toes, but nah, I don't need my toes.
Only did this trap heavily damage a soldier's foot, but it also served as an alarm, inherently turning this trap into an easy ambush. Number 5. Punji stick traps. This next trap is something straight out of an Indiana Jones film. The spiked pits were a terrifying booby trap that were generously placed throughout the dense jungle of Vietnam. This would fall under Punji stick traps and is very similar to the foot traps we covered in the number 7 spot, except a lot more gruesome, deadly, and terrifying. Instead of setting up razor-sharp stakes to impale the foot, they were now designed much larger and made to puncture the entire human body. Another common tactic...
See, that trap wouldn't really be fun. That's not like a video game. Other trap is kind of like a video game. You could like woohoo and like jump across it. That's not like a video. Your whole body. At this point, bro, just shoot me. I feel like, I don't know, bro. If I was captive and they told me I had a bunch of torture options, I'd just be like, just kill me. I would honestly have to find a way to do it myself, because there's no way I'm going through this.
Used by the Communist Army was...
Wait, hold up. If you were sent to that war, and after that you were in, let's say you were an American soldier, you were in Vietnam, what's gonna stop you from like just leaving? Or like just walking away or going to another country? Like, would they track you down and ban you or jail you or something? Like, if you travel to another country, I don't think they could.
Planting Punji sticks in high grass. They would set these up at choke points where they could ambush US soldiers and their allies.
Yes.
You see, when a soldier began to take fire from an unknown location, they will instinctually dive for cover in the tall grass and impaling themselves on the hidden stakes.
Damn.
Number 4, the snake pit. Now,
See, this is exactly why.
Number 4, the snake.
This is exactly why I could never be in a war. Oh my god. They weren't at least venomous, right? They couldn't have been venomous snakes. They might have just been maybe they're just for fun. Maybe they're just having fun there.
Snake pit. Now, as if the spiked pits were not terrifying enough, the Viet Cong and Northern Vietnamese army would take it too far when they began to add deadly vipers inside of the pits as well.
No.
Which we can all agree is cheating. The Communist Army would also begin to conserve the stakes, digging deep holes and just filling them with the deadly snakes.
Oh no.
One of the most common snakes that were used was the yellow-bellied bamboo pit viper, but US soldiers would know it by a different name, the two-stepper, implying that after receiving a bite, you would only take 2 steps before dropping.
I'd be scared as of like nature. See, this is why I don't be going outside. Yo, this is why I haven't touched grass in like 5 years. 5 years because of stuff like that. How is there a creature that even lives like this? How does it have the power to do this to the human body? It's like a decent amount of like, bro, human body got a decent amount of pounds to it. And it's doing things like this to an able human. 2 steps? This is this is a military trained strong soldier. Okay, from the 60s.
Dead. Now, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but nonetheless, the snake was definitely lethal.
Nature.
The Communist Army mixed and matched all of their traps and were willing to try just about anything to see what would work. Holes with stakes, holes with snakes, holes with grenades, no holes,
I think I'll just take the grenades.
On stakes, holes with poop stakes and snakes, snakes with stakes. You get the point. Number 3, tripwires. One of the most terrifying and paranoia-inducing traps involved the use of tripwires. There were many traps that used the tripwire method, but I'll just cover the most common ones, starting with the can grenade. The can grenade consisted of a grenade, a can, and a piece of wire. The grenade would have the safety pin removed from it and placed inside of a can, with the can wall holding down the lever. A piece of wire was then tied to a base, then to the grenade.
That's crazy, bro, because I'm pretty sure in real life, like, I tripped on a tripwire. I don't know who put it there. It was like in my school, bro. Somebody put like a tripwire in like the school or something like that. I remember this is high school, and then like hella people were tripping in the hallway, and I tripped on that shit. So this just proves to me that like I wouldn't last back then in the Vietnam War. I'll be one of those people getting exploded first. I'll be the first one gone.
Creating a tripwire. And when a soldier would hit the wire, the grenade would be pulled out of the can, releasing the lever and igniting the grenade. Now, these tripwires were also commonly hooked up to crossbows, which of course shot arrows that had the tips covered in feces. Another tripwire trap that struck fear into the hearts of soldiers was the mace. This was a large, heavy swinging ball that had wooden or metal spikes sticking out of it, which would swing down from overhead and slamming into the person who hit the wire. But wait, there's more. There was also...
That's like my worst nightmare, I can't speak, nightmare. Like, I think of that too. Like, sometimes, bro, on construction sites, I never seen a wrecking ball in real life, but like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, damn, what if I'm there when the wrecking ball is going on? I'm dead, bro. I'm done for. They basically thwomp them. They thwomp them essentially. It's like they're like Mario thwomps or nothing.
So the bamboo whip. This was a bamboo stick that had 1 foot spikes sticking out of it. The stick would be pulled back between trees and held with tremendous tension, tied with a simple catch that would release when someone hit the tripwire, which would send the spiked bamboo flying directly at the person. There was also another trap called the raft. This was a large, heavy wooden block that had razor-sharp spikes sticking out of it. And when the wire was hit, the wooden block would fall from out of the trees and impaling the soldier's head. Number 2.
Damn, I would think with his head, he would be good.
2. Landmines. Landmines had to have...
landmines, we all know landmines. Y'all know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure there's still landmines, like, digged in the ground. Like, in a lot of, like, countries, they have landmines that they just never found. Because, like, they dig that shit randomly. Nobody ever knows. So, who knows, you know, you could be walking one day and get exploded by a landmine.
Have been the single most terrifying traps that were used during the Vietnam War. To put into perspective just how deadly and fear-inducing they were, we just have to take a look at one statistic. It's estimated that 1/3 of all Marine casualties were caused by mines and explosive booby traps. Now just imagine the levels of paranoia you would have with every single step.
No wonder
you hit a twig,
all the veterans have like
you
PTSD.
Drop and roll. You hit a pothole, you drop and roll. You hit a weed. You begin to question what you're even doing in the jungles of Vietnam, and slowly come to the realization that war is nothing more than a racket, where a handful of wealthy people get even more rich as they trade human lives for insane profits. But of course, all your boys will tell you to just take a deep breath, drink some water, and sleep it off. Now, one of the most common landmines that the Communist Army used was the DH-10 directional fragmentation mine, which was over a foot in length and weighed over 30 pounds. The DH-10 unleashed fragments up to 200 meters and was commonly rigged with tripwire. As for the unlucky soldier that hit this wire, well, I'm not so sure just how much of him would be left.
And I think it's huge too.
But one thing I am sure of is anyone that witnessed this trap in action would never be the same after seeing it. Number 1, the rat tunnels. The rat tunnel.
Oh my god, see, like, now I know 100% confirmed I wouldn't last. A rat tunnel? I can't even be around mice. I just simply can't be around mice and rats and stuff like that. They're just like disgusting, vile animals. I don't know, bro. Ugh. I'd probably rather be in the Vietnam War though than like live in like a New York apartment though. This is basically the same thing.
Tunnels were easily the most terrifying traps the Viet Cong ever created. This was not just a trap. This was more of a horror movie. You see, the rat tunnels were an extensive and complex network of underground tunnels that served many purposes. They were also so small that once inside, it would be impossible to turn back around, and made clearing them out a solo mission. For the Communist Army, these tunnels housed their rest area, kitchen, ammunition, water, and first...
Wait, it's kind of like a little village. That's kind of cool though. How do they even do this? This reminds me of like Fallout. They have like all little bunkers and stuff. Oh yeah, Fallout was like based on a war, right? I don't know.
Aid stations. But for the US and its allies, these tunnels were nothing short of a horrific nightmare. You see, the tunnels were pitch black, requiring you to hold a flashlight and only allowing for a pistol in your other hand. As you begin to slowly crawl through the tunnel, bats will be flying past your head, and rats and bugs running and crawling past you. But soon, you inevitably come to a junction where you could continue going straight, make a left, or a right.
Alright, let me make the right choice. So he said left, middle, and right. I'm gonna go with talk to me, left. Talk to me.
You might not know it at the time, but a wrong turn here could be the last choice you ever make, as there are many false tunnels that lead to landmines.
Which way did he go?
Spiked pits, ambushes.
Oh shit! Is that left?
Even areas where vipers are tied to the walls. Now you're probably asking yourself, what soldier in their right mind would ever volunteer to go inside one of these hellish holes?
Right.
It turns out not many. Instead, the platoon just became what it was fighting against. Communist, sending in the shortest soldier in the platoon, giving him a job that he never...
Short King's down. At that point, just fucking leave. Just fucking leave. Kai might be cooked in next war. Hey, all the short kings, y'all are done for. Y'all might as well just like not even participate. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna participate anyways, but you know, don't participate.
wanted.
5'8" at 13.
Now, don't get me wrong, the US and its
5'10".
allies did eventually put together a very small group of soldiers that would specialize in clearing out these tunnels. And when I say small, I mean that literally and figuratively, as most of them were under 5'5".
Under
This
5
small
foot is...
group of
Okay, you actually deserve it then.
soldiers would come to be known as the Tunnel Rats. And throughout the Vietnam War, they proved to be some of the bravest soldiers to have ever fought, earning the respect and admiration from their fellow soldiers. And for once in their lives, they were not the ones looking up to others.
Wow. Thank you, Good Enough. Hey, amazing channel. Okay, amazing video. So, yeah, the conclusion of this is be glad that you're alive in the 21st century. Man, woman, whatever. We don't gotta deal with no Vietnam traps and shit. And honestly, bro, like, what's the point? Like, I don't got any problem with Vietnamese people. I don't have a problem with a Vietnamese person out there. I have friends that are Vietnamese, all right? And if you're watching this on the tube, join the Discord.